Okay, so let me get this straight. You support mass deportations, your entire workforce disappeared, and your business starts collapsing. And now it's a problem. I'm directing that message at this guy, a US construction business owner in the Rio Grande Valley. And I'll admit, I was doom scrolling last night before I went to sleep, and I ran across this video. And this is a classic case of you got exactly what you voted for. So I thought I would share it with the community. Also, we know these guys are roaming around the airports now, but what are they actually doing? And speaking of the US airports, I have a report that talks to a guy that actually had to wait 9 hours to get onto his flight. Now, he missed his flight, but he was in line for a total 9 hours. I mean, that's like flying from Vancouver to Tokyo almost. It's beyond ridiculous what's happening in the United States airports right now. And I do hope that anybody listening right now is not going to the United States or has any layovers or stopovers in the US. But if you're a US citizen watching my video and you need to travel, you might want to get there like really early. So in this video, we're going to take a peek over the fence and see what's going on with our neighbors. Let's start with a construction owner who voted for the orange guy. This one should be good.
I did vote for Mr. Trump. Deporting the criminals is a great policy. These foundations are poured, ready to go, and we can't even start the construction on them. But we voted for the American dream, and unfortunately, right now, we're not seeing that.
For months, federal agents have been sweeping up workers at construction sites in South Texas.
ICE has raided us anywhere between 10 to 15 times throughout different subdivisions.
Now, work sites across the Rio Grande Valley have ground to a halt. And that's got some Trump supporters in this midterm battleground changing their minds.
These people would just show up to our job sites with no warrants, taking all our workers, even the workers with proper documentation.
You know what I'm really curious about is anybody that is non-white, how can they actually vote for the orange guy? Because during the election campaign, it was very clear that he was going to target anyone that was not white. But I'm going to show you a throwback video from last year, I think it's about a year ago, where this Latino woman openly supported and voted for the orange guy, only to have her husband deported.
It's been happening frequently at the 333 Miami Avenue Federal Court building. Janet Correa's husband was detained this week. According to her immigration lawyer, he has already been placed on expedite removal.
I don't know, I really don't understand it. And the same goes for this guy as well. I mean, if majority of your staff have a Latino background, don't you think that would turn on the light in your head or something like that? I mean, hell, I'm surprised he wasn't detained.
Many who work in the construction industry here told us they largely rely on immigrant workers, some of whom are undocumented. DHS did not respond to the Times' request for comment, but in a previous statement, it said these raids protect the nation's workforce.
I've supported Mr. Trump in every election that he's been a part of. We just never thought that this would come and affect us in the construction industry, but most importantly, affect our economy here in South Texas.
So this guy's probably a triple orange guy voter. And I'm going to take a wild guess and say that if his staff were not personally involved or personally detained, he would still be supporting the orange guy. You see, one thing I'm noticing when I'm doing my doom scrolling on social media, yeah, I do it so you guys don't have to. But what I am noticing is that anyone who voted for the orange guy that now has regret, something personally has happened to them. Whether it's high gas prices or whether it's they lost their job, or in this guy's case, his staff got all deported. But I have not seen many reports or any at all where the Republicans are regretting their vote because of what's going on right now.
We are seeing a reduction of almost 60% of our volume on the residential side of our business. We applied for bankruptcy in December.
We saw a drop in sales of about $5.3 million. For 40 years, we had never laid anybody off, and until this happened, we were forced to.
And beyond construction, local businesses say fear is keeping shoppers at home.
And there's been a lot of loss of sales because of that. It killed us this year.
Construction is one of the main pillars to the economy here. Everybody's hurting.
Well, no shit, it's one of the main pillars. And if you were smart enough, you would have protected it. Now, this guy got totally roasted in the comments of this video. And to be honest, I'm actually being nice on him. But I think many of us watching this right now, inside, we're saying, we told you so.
In the Rio Grande Valley, two of President Trump's top priorities, the economy and mass deportation, are colliding as ICE raids upend the construction industry. And at a parade along the U.S.-Mexico border, Democrats are trying to capitalize on voters' frustration.
The economic implications are huge. People who voted for Trump are no longer doing it because they can't afford to do it anymore.
For decades, the Rio Grande Valley, where more than 80% of the population is Latino, reliably voted for Democrats. Then in 2024, voters here swung further toward President Trump than almost anywhere else in the country.
I think Democrats stopped showing up here. They took this community for granted, and so when Republican politicians showed up and made big promises, people took a chance. A year later, we're seeing those promises weren't kept.
Now, my guess is in the next election and maybe even the midterms, this district is going to go blue. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of other districts in the United States that are going to go blue when it comes to the midterms and even the next election. But unfortunately, the damage is already done. And it's only been 14 months?
So we were going to build 196 apartments here in a year, but because of all the ICE raids and all the enforcements that we've been seeing, it's going to take us 3 years now to go ahead and finish this development.
County property records show these slowdowns have spread throughout the industry as banks that lend to home builders report fewer transactions.
We were seeing certain banks that did that kind of lending suddenly have much slower activity. Those numbers were declining about 30 to 40%. We weren't sure why exactly, and I started asking some of these lenders, what is going on? We found out that they were struggling to keep their people on the jobs because of ICE.
In February, Mario requested a meeting with ICE through his congressional representatives. He went to Washington, D.C. with a few other builders and pleaded with them to ease up on job sites in South Texas.
They basically told us that if a construction site is not fenced in, it's considered public property, and that's why they don't have to show a warrant. So we started fencing in all our properties.
He said that after the meeting, ICE activity at job sites did decline, but the damage had already been done.
I hope they realize that this is really, really affecting us, and it's affecting the way that we feel towards the administration.
Well, Mario, I hate to say it, but they probably don't give a shit about you. And they probably don't care that it's affecting you as well. Now, if you're actually considering having any sympathy for this Mario guy, let me read out something to you that he said in an NBC article. Guerrero said he doesn't regret his vote for the orange guy. He blames the former president, Joe Biden, for the large number of immigrants who arrived at the border, including in McAllen. He supported the orange guy's campaign's promise to focus on the worst of the worst, he said. But he said that it's President Barack Obama who was the deportation king. So it's pretty clear to me that this guy really doesn't understand. And if there was another vote, I guess in the midterms, I'm pretty sure I know who he's going to vote for. So if you're thinking of having any sort of sympathy for this guy, just think about what he just said. Now, staying on the topic of ICE, I do want to talk about what they're actually doing at the airports. But before I do, I would like to give a shout out to Tanya, who emailed me this photo from an unknown coast mountain in British Columbia. I don't recognize it, so I'm not really too sure where it is. But I really do appreciate you sending it over because I always love seeing photos from my home province. And just one more thing for anybody that's sending me photos. I mentioned it in a previous video, but any photos that are being posted to the Hey Cafe Guard Delete page, unfortunately those photos are compressed. So when I try to save it and use it as a backdrop, it doesn't turn out the way that you took the photo. So if you are going to be sending any photos, it's best to email it to me. Okay, so getting back onto the topic of these clowns, I want to show you what they're actually doing at the US airports.
ICE at the airport at Bush Airport in Houston, and they are taking people. They're brown people. There was a woman that was pulled aside. She was taking, they don't look like they're helping anything. There's a long ass line. I don't know what they're helping, but just forward to everybody.
Now, the orange guy said that he was putting ICE in the airports to help with the lineups. Well, it's pretty clear that they're not helping with the lineups. To be honest, they're standing around doing nothing. But who's to say that ICE isn't going to be using this opportunity to do some immigration stuff? I recall someone from ICE saying that their presence at the airport is just strictly only going to be security. But then in another video, the orange guy said it's going to be for immigration. So who do you believe? But my point is that many Canadians and even people who are still going to the United States have actually reached out to me saying, hey, I've been perfectly fine. There's been nothing at the airports. And I've never had a problem in the United States. Yes, you might still be fine, but now you have a higher chance of something possibly going wrong. For me, that's just something I wouldn't want to risk. But then again, for me, it's also principle. Now, I want to show a couple clips that are showing the lineups that are happening at the US airports. You know, the thing that ICE is supposed to help fix. You know, I must have watched this video about 5 or 6 times, and I'm still trying to find out where the beginning and the end is. Now this next clip. Imagine being met with this chaos when you're just trying to get on your flight. You know what actually worries me is the longer this goes on, the more normal it's going to feel. And let's not kid ourselves, we still have like just under 3 years left of the orange guy being in the office. There's going to be another government shutdown again. Now, I did read somewhere that there might be a potential agreement that would put TSA workers back on the payroll. But like I said, we got under 3 years to have another government shutdown. But look at all these people, and look how much time is being wasted. This next report I'm going to show you talks to a guy that waited 9 hours to get onto his flight. Well, he missed his flight, but I guess he had to get another one. But it took him 9 hours to get through security.
Our next guest's flight was at 10:45 p.m., and he did everything right. He got to the Atlanta airport at least 4 hours early, as they recommended online. But he says he didn't get through security until 3:20 the next morning. In those 9 hours, he says he missed his flight, made new friends, and in his own words, witnessed the system collapsing. Will Frampton joins me now. Will, it is good to see you. It's good to see you survived, frankly. But my first thought was, what goes through your head when you get to the airport 4 hours early and you see how long the line is?
Oh, I thought I had it all figured out, right? I thought I had the perfect plan. Of course, if you know the Atlanta airport, or any major airport for that matter, Monday mornings are very busy. So in normal times, the 9 a.m. flight on Monday morning, you better get there pretty early. And I thought, now is not the good time to be doing that. So I switched my flight to 10:45 Sunday night. All right, I'm going to get there 4 hours early. It's going to be good. The lines will be long, but I'll make it.
Now, even without these lines, I'm always one to go to the airport early. I mean, for a normal international flight in Vancouver, I would normally get there maybe 2.5, 3 hours earlier. This is just a personal thing. I would much rather go earlier and just hang out and, maybe go to the lounge or something like that. But looking at all these lineups across the United States, it doesn't look like a get there, 3 hours earlier. It looks like get there like 6 or 7 hours earlier.
About 3 hours later, after we're sneaking through all the baggage carousel, the line that goes through all the carousels, and it's like a maze, right? Who can possibly keep up with this line? Someone from, I believe the Atlanta police came on loudspeaker and says, folks, if you have a flight before 11 p.m., you will not be flying tonight. Please call your airline and reschedule. So that's, at that point I did. And yeah, you can't fathom any of these things happening, but they were all playing out right before our eyes.
So why did it take 9 hours from the time you arrived to when you actually got through the gate? What happened
I think
then?
It was just the worst possible timing for my little cluster in the line. We got there at a time when I think that whatever TSA pre-check line was closed or was open had just before that closed. And so, I have pre-check and I have all the things to get me through faster, but I've missed that chance. And so now we're in the main line, which, starts, it's snaking all the way through the terminal. I mean, as far as the eye can see. I shot some video. I guess you've showed it there. We think also what happened is that there were so many of us that airport staff, they were overwhelmed, of course, and they couldn't keep track of that everybody's going through the line the way they should have been. We think at some point we were redirected to go back to another start of a different line somehow.
Okay, I'm going to stop here because he just keeps talking. But you guys get the point. I mean, none of us want to deal with this. And who I feel really bad for are the US citizens who didn't vote for this, and they need to travel to get to where they need to go. But unfortunately, it is what it is. And many of these people who are pissed off right now, well, you have to be pissed off at 77 million people. Well, your fellow citizens. They are the ones that are actually responsible for this. Don't get mad at me. We're just looking over the fence. All right, that's all I got for this video on looking over the fence at our neighbors. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective without the US media bias, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. That way you're notified of my future videos. And if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that'll show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.